Good guy, that Mike Garafolo. Casual Mike, no tie today for our weekly visit. Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. We love chatting with him. Mike, I'd hate to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan right now. That was a tough loss to the Broncos on Monday night. And here's how I would sum it up. The Bengals looked bad. Jamar Chase looked mad. Jake Browning looked replaceable. Is there anything Cincinnati can do to try to save their season?
I thought you were going for the rhyme there. I don't know if you were going for rad or sad, maybe. Jamar Chase did look mad, but I will say, as far as like sideline, hey, look what just happened on the sideline, let's roll it back type clips. I mean, Travis Kelce nearly bowled over Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. I'm going to get a little bit more than Jamar Chase just kind of sort of having a conversation with Zach Taylor there for some sideline drama. But I will say he's definitely frustrated. You heard what he had to say. They had high expectations for their offense, particularly because they invested so much in him and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow last year with his contract that you don't have the money to go around to spend on the defense or the running game or the offensive line. So when you lose Joe Burrow and you don't have that element right now, that makes things so much harder. So right now they have to figure out, do we want to make a move to bring ourselves in a quarterback? I know that those conversations have at least been had inside the building, Jay. The hard part is that Joe Burrow is coming back this season. So when we last talked about the Bengals, it was after he got hurt, and I said, look, they've just got to find a way to sort of stay alive in the playoff race till he comes back. And at the time, they were 2-0. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility, especially if they would have beaten Minnesota, who just lost to Pittsburgh in disappointing fashion without their cornerback. They would have been 3-0 at that point. So that's the game that really, really hurt them, because not only did they lose, they lost badly again. You got to figure, if you're the Bengals, if you don't make a move at the quarterback spot, this is likely going to be a lost season at this point. So we're talking about Russell Wilson. We're talking about Kirk Cousins potentially. With Russell, Jay, it's a lot easier financially. His base salary is only $2 million. It'd be a lot cheaper financially. What would you have to give up? That's a different question. But for Kirk Cousins, Atlanta would have to take on a lot of money there to facilitate that trade. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe Jake Browning somehow turns this thing around. But right now, I think the Bengals have a tough decision to make at the quarterback spot.
Well, if you're looking for a silver lining, Bengals are still in the division ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the Ravens fell to 1-3 this past weekend. Yeah. And as you know, what's worse is that Lamar Jackson could not finish the game, had a hamstring injury. Mike, is there any timetable for the Ravens star return?
He's up in the air this week, and I can't rule him out. I've had conversations with people down there. They say if we need Cooper Rush, we're confident, but the word if kept coming up. If, because they don't know. They've got to see how it goes throughout the week. I would say at the very least he's questionable, but they've got to see how his hamstring does throughout the week. He's also a competitor. If he's got a chance to play, he is going to go out there, particularly because this team is in dire straits. They've had injuries across the board. Nnamdi Madubuike, the defensive tackle, losing him. As I said the other day, we were talking about on NFL Network, he makes $24 million a year. Probably not enough because of his absence and what it has meant to not having him at the defensive line spot. They've got injuries at linebacker, Roquan Smith, in the secondary with Marlon Humphrey. The hits just keep on coming. All that said, John Harbaugh's got a bunch of different slogans with this team, and one of them that he's used in recent years, nobody cares, work harder. They've had T-shirts made up, and guess what? Nobody cares because everybody's dealing with injuries at this point. So the Ravens just got to work harder and just try to battle through the adversity. I will add this, though. After their bye week, their schedule does soften up significantly. So if they can get some of these guys back, get Lamar healthy, they can get themselves right back into the conversation for being at the top of the division, or at the very least, a wild card.
You know what? John Harbaugh might have to send some of those T-shirts to Kyle Shanahan in the Bay Area, because I think the Niners are actually out-injuring the Ravens at this point. They also have to deal with a short week because they're playing against the Rams this Thursday. Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, they all missed practice Tuesday. Any hope for any of those three to play on Thursday against the Rams?
I think it's an uphill battle for all those guys. Now, Pearsall doesn't seem to be a long-term thing. He's been sensational as a wide receiver, and you're already banged up there. They don't have Brandon Ayuk, who doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon from that torn ACL last year. With Purdy missing a practice on a short week, Not a great sign, particularly because it's an injury that he had already come back from once. So this is an indication that there was some kind of setback there. And you know you can rely upon Mac Jones, although he's banged up as well. So if you're asking me right now, I think Brock Purdy does not play in this game. And at least one of those wide receivers does not play as well. This is a tough spot for the 49ers. We got off to such a great start. That's why that loss against the Jaguars was a really tough one, because they could have added a little bit of a cushion here. But on a short week, going up against the Rams, you don't have your quarterback. You've got your both of his top targets banged up. Still don't have George Kittle, by the way. He'll be back soon from that hamstring injury. But the 49ers, Jay, in a really tough spot right now. Still a team that I can see making the playoffs, if not winning this division. I just feel like at this point, on a short week, with all these injuries going up against the Rams, it's going to be a tough, tough spot for the Niners.
Finally, Mike, I just wanted to ask you one more thing about the most important news that came out this past weekend, and that's the fact that Bad Bunny will be performing at the Super Bowl this year. He is the Super Bowl halftime show. This has proven to be a strangely divisive choice. Curious to get your take. Yeah. Mike, what do you think about Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime performer?
Jay, the NFL is interested in taking this game global. They've done it with their international schedule. They're going to add to it. Roger Goodell saying that we are going to have an international game for every team, 16 international games at some point in the near future. And this is a global star that they're bringing in, and they're also trying to tap into a lot of the younger viewers. The people that are upset about this, Jay, I would say the majority of them probably are going to watch the game anyway, so that's not necessarily what the NFL had in mind with bringing in Bad Bunny. I know it's going to be divisive. I can't wait to see what happens during the halftime itself. Kendrick Lamar certainly worked some things in there that had people talking for days. I would guess that Bad Bunny, who's been outspoken, will have a few of those moments as well. So, listen, if you're not interested, just turn it off during halftime, then come back for the third quarter. That's all you got to do.
I like it. Well said, my friend. And listen, if the game's going global, which we both know it is, then it's only a matter of time until Celine Dion gets a show. We want Canada's queen to get a chance to do the halftime show, Mike. How excited would you be about that? Your heart will go on.
Yeah, she sang the national anthem at the Grey Cup recently, within the last couple of years, if I remember that one correctly. Let's get her to do the Super Bowl halftime, Jay. I'm all for it.